Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. In this session, we will be discussing from the 7th verse of the 7th chapter of the 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne parama purushe bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha shoka moha bhayapaha. The meaning of this verse is, simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, referring to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion and fearfulness. See how effective Srimad Bhagavatam is. Simply you have to hear. This is called giving oral reception. You have to give oral reception means you have to hear attentively. And simply you have to do that. What did Parikshit Maharaj do? He simply sat and heard Shukadeva Goswami speak for 7 days and nights continuously. That's all he did. He didn't do any gymnastics. But he was hearing with complete attention. He was fully absorbed in the subject matter. So much so that Shukadeva Goswami said that, do you want to take a break? He said, no. There is no need for any break because through my ears I am drinking the nectar of the words of the Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. So that nectar makes one indifferent to thirst, hunger, sleep. All these things cannot disturb a person who is completely immersed in hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. So how does it work? That's what is said here. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam attentively, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once. It is awakened, it is there in the heart. This you have heard earlier. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabuna. It is already there in the heart, this love for Krishna. But it is awakened by this process of attentive hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And what does it do? It extinguishes the fire of lamentation, illusion and fearfulness. This is explained by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. Prabhupada says, there are various senses of which the ear is the most effective ear. This sense works even when a man is deep asleep. One can protect himself from the hands of an enemy while awake, but while asleep, one is protected by the ear only. The importance of hearing is mentioned herein in connection with attaining the highest perfection of life, namely getting free from 3 material pangs. Everyone is full of lamentation at every moment. Material life means constant lamentation. And Everyone is after the mirage of illusory things. The whole material creation is a creation of the illusory energy. And so many objects are there which bewilder the mind, and people are simply running after this mirage. Mirage means something in a phenomenon in a desert. In a desert, there is no water, but it appears like there is a body of water at a distance, and one chases that body of water and never gets any water because there is no real water there in that mirage. Similarly, in this material world, so many objects seem to be promising so much of happiness, but actually none of those objects can give us any real pleasure. And thirdly, he is always afraid of his supposed enemy. Shoka, Moha, Bhaya. These are three material pangs which everyone in this material world who is born under the force of karma has to face. These are the primary symptoms of material disease, Bhava Roga. It's called Bhava Roga, the disease of repeated birth and death. Everyone is affected by this disease in this material world. And the primary symptoms, just like if somebody has got a viral infection, then they have a symptom called fever or some body pain or some vomiting, loose motion, whatever. Like that, what is the symptom of this material disease? That is described as these three symptoms: Shoka, Moha, Bhaya. Shoka is lamentation, Moha is illusion, and Bhaya is fear. And it is definitely suggested herein that simply by hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one gets attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna is very, very attractive, but you have to hear about Krishna from the pure devotee, because the pure devotee presents factually the actual personality of Godhead, not some speculated theory or some mental concoction. No, real Supreme Lord is presented by the pure devotee. And as soon as this is effected, the symptoms of the material diseases disappear. As soon as you hear from a pure devotee the actual message of the Bhagavatam, immediately it relieves you from these three material pangs. Immediately. You feel relief. And that is the most encouraging part of the process of bhakti. Srila Vyasadeva saw the all-perfect personality of Godhead, and in this statement, the all-perfect personality of God, Sri Krishna, is clearly confirmed. The ultimate result of devotional service is to develop genuine love for the Supreme Personality. We have love for Krishna, but this is awakened only by this process of bhakti. It cannot be awakened by the process of jnana, karma, or yoga. No material methods are possible to be practiced in order to awaken our genuine devotion or genuine love for Krishna. Love is a word which is often used in relation with man and woman. And love is the only word that can be properly used to indicate the relation between Lord Krishna and the living entities. Why is that? Because the living entities are described as Prakriti in the Bhagavad Gita. Apareyam itastu anyam prakritim vidhi me param. Material energy is described as apara prakriti, living entities are described as para prakriti. So we are Prakriti. Prakriti is feminine, Prakriti is female. The Lord is always described as the Parama Purusha, the supreme male personality. Thus, The affection between the Lord and the living entities is something like the affection between the male and the female in this material world. See, why this being said is because we have experience what is the kind of affection that exists between a male and a female. So, the term love of Godhead is quite appropriate if you understand from this perspective. We are feminine in terms of being Prakriti, and the Lord is the supreme male, so the relationship is one of love. That is how Prabhupada explains in this purport. Loving devotional service to the Lord begins with hearing about the Lord. Shravanam. The very first process for executing devotional service is hearing. There is no difference between the Lord and the subject matter heard about Him. This is the absolute nature of Krishna. His descriptions are identical with His personality. The Lord is absolute in all respects, and thus there is no difference between Him and the subject matter heard about Him. Therefore, hearing about Him means immediate contact with Him by the process of vibration of the transcendental sound. The sound which is emanating from the lips of the pure devotee when the pure devotee describes the Supreme Lord, Krishna. That sound is a transcendental vibration. And the transcendental sound is so effective that it acts at once by removing all material affections mentioned above. Everything is completely cleansed away by the powerful sound of the description of the Supreme Lord. As mentioned before, a living entity develops a sort of complexity by material association, and the illusory engagement of the material body is accepted as an actual fact. We are entangled in this world and we accept this illusion as something which is real. Why is it called illusion? Illusion means something which is not real you accept as real, something which is not fact you accept as fact, and the actual fact is rejected as something which is not real. This is the whole basis of illusion. Under such false complexity, the living beings under different categories of life become illusion in different ways. The way the illusory energy works is different for different living entities. Just like a dog, male dog is attracted to a female dog. A male pig is attracted to a female pig. Now, from our perspective, the pig may be a very ugly creature or a filthy, living in a filthy place in a gutter, eating stool, abominable existence. But the power of illusion is such that the soul in a male pig's body is attracted to the female pig's body simply to enjoy sex life. You see? Same thing happens even in bird society, animal society, even in human society also. The same thing happens. So Srila Prabhupada says, even in the most developed stage of human life, the same illusion prevails in the form of many isms and divides the loving relation between the Lord and the living entities. Thereby, it divides the loving relation between man and man, between one human being and another human being. But by hearing the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, this false complexity of materialism is removed, and real peace in society begins, which politicians aspire for so eagerly in many political situations. So, peace is the prerequisite for love. There is no possibility of love without peace. As long as our mind is agitated, disturbed, there is no possibility of love, experiencing love. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the only literature which gives us perfect description of the Supreme Lord, which is identical with the Lord. And such contact with the Lord through simply hearing attentively will ensure that our heart becomes cleansed of all these misconceptions, all the wrong understanding, all the material complexities are removed, and love is at once awakened. So that is the process. That's how it works. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.